Okay. Back again. Come back. Let's go. Don't know what's happened with OBS today. I guess maybe because I use the background clear, and that's why it's bugging. So I was waiting you here. Listen to that. Sorry. Some echo. La viewers. Okay, that's better. Let's go.
In. 1 year ago, in my last video, I was spending 5 million IDR per month and splitting it between 2 people, and nothing much there has changed. I'm now staying in a place called Agatha Chengu Guest House, and I'm still splitting it between 2 people. I know this sounds cheap, and that's because it is, but when I moved into this guest house last February, I was actually paying only 3 million IDR per month.
You see, one time it was $200 per month. Yeah, I'm sure in Sulawesi it's less expensive. Yeah. Here we're talking about Bali, which is tourist place, and it's surely 1/3 more than anywhere else in Indonesia. But yeah. But well, that's the price.
And now, because I've been here for almost a year, I actually get a very good discounted long-term guest price of 4.7 million. But I've had friends that have been inquired to stay here in recent months, and they're actually being quoted 7 million a month to stay in this very same guest house. However,
So,
at this moment,
no, it's
7
close
million
to
is actually on the low end
$500.
for Canggu, and getting a decent guest house in the main areas of Canggu is probably going to run you anywhere between 7 and 12 million IDR per month right now. That's like 450 to 750 US dollars per month. To put this into perspective, back in the UK, I was paying around $700 a month to live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my friend, and that included the bills, and we lived right in the center of my hometown, just off the high street. That makes the rest.
Well, $700 in UK, it should be a very little town, not in London, because in London you have nothing for that price, and not in big town in UK. But in France, yes, where I live in countryside, for $700 you have a house with 2 bedrooms at least, and garden. like 1,000 square meters. That's the price here. But in Paris, you will have $700. You will have nothing. Maybe 12 square meters. So you can just put your bed and have a little kitchen.
Rent price for a lot of guest houses in Canggu, the same as what it was costing me to live a month in the UK, and that's nuts. And don't even get me started on villas, because they're so hard to find right now. They're getting snapped up as soon as they hit the market, and the prices have skyrocketed since pre-pandemic. Also, good hostels are pretty expensive at the moment. You're probably looking around $12 to $20 a night for a dorm room.
It's strange that the pandemic made the price rise. Because if there is no one, they don't rent. So normally it should go cheaper, not more expensive.
And that's going to be a pretty good hostel. I mean, there's going to be cheaper hostels out there, but they're probably not going to be up to a nice standard. But they're definitely not going to be that sub $10 a night hostel that you expect from Southeast Asia. Top tip though, if you're looking for cheaper long-term accommodation, then search areas outside of Canggu, like Sese, Chamagi, Karabakan. It's likely that you can find guest houses out here for probably around the 4 to 8 million a month instead of like the 7 to 12 million a month. It is 20 minutes outside of Canggu, but if you're okay with doing that ride almost every day, in and out, then why not go for it? It's also quieter out there as well, but bear in mind there's definitely less Western options when it comes to food. So, scooter rentals is actually another price that's shot up since tourism has come back to the island. If you're coming here to Bali, you're likely to spend around 60 to 150,000 a day, depending on the size of the scooter, but remember, it's cheaper if you book it long term. I'm actually still renting the same Yamaha NMAX I was renting when I made the last video, but instead of 1.2 million a month now, it's costing me 1.4 million a month. Now that's not a big jump in price, but actually I'm getting long-term customer price again, and I think now for an NMAX you're probably looking anywhere between 1.6 and 2 million depending on who you rent it from. If you're not looking for a big bike like mine and instead are opting for a smaller Honda Vario or Scoopy, then you're probably going to run around 1 to 1.2 million a month to rent one of these. But I prefer bigger bikes because you get more storage space, it tackles steep hills easier, especially with 2 people on it. It feels more stable when you're riding it because it's heavier, and that way it just makes the overall ride a
Yeah, but don't forget 2 months. Why there is so tourist in Bali? Because it's nice, of course, but people speak English a lot, which is not the case in all Indonesia. And also, there are mainly Hinduist or Buddhist, not 98% Muslim in Bali. No. And people who come from Europe, they are not very comfortable to go in a Muslim town, you know. So that's why they go to Bali, because they feel free in Bali. They can go to the beach, and women can wear a bikini, and it's not a problem. So that's also the reason they don't go in other part of Indonesia.
lot more safer. Bear in mind, the other week fuel prices went up
because they want to live like Western people, you know, not like Muslim people.
as well, from 7.5k a litre to now 10k a litre. Now that's not a big jump, and fuel prices haven't gone up on the island in a long time, but now it means it costs me around 50 to 60k to fill up my tank, which I do around 4 times a month.
Yeah, in Bali you can find alcohol, nightclub, you can wear bikini, women don't have to wear the hijab, so many things that they appreciate. That's why they go to Bali. It's more free than all the rest of Indonesia.
Food in Bali is one of those things that could be eaten as luxuriously or as cheaply as you like. It just depends on your taste and budget. However, this is another area where prices have risen quite a bit in the last 6 months or so, especially for Western food. Most restaurants have upped the prices on their menus by around 10 to 20,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you eat over a month, it does add up. In my last video, I said I like to eat local food a lot so that I can keep my costs down, which was true, but after a year here in Bali, eating local food that much became very repetitive, so it's not something that I do that much anymore. I still love Indonesian food, don't get me wrong, but these days I tend to find myself leaning more towards Western options, especially as Indonesian food, a lot of it is fried and oily. So a fancy meal out here in Canggu is probably going to run you between 150 and 200,000 per person depending on the place. A mid-range meal is going to be about 100,000 to 150,000, and local food hasn't changed all that much, and it's still going to cost you around 20 to 50,000 for a local meal. I usually eat 2 meals a day, a late breakfast and a dinner, to save a bit of money like I did in the last video. Plus I know some really great breakfast places that do a deal for breakfast and a drink, so I never really pay more than 70 or 80,000 for a breakfast. Let me know if you want me to make a video about where to eat cheaply in Canggu. And for dinner, I usually eat local around twice a week. I would say maybe one fancy meal every week or two, and then
we
the rest
go
would
for
be
$300 per
I
month.
also sucker for a cinnamon roll, and as
At
much
least.
as I hate to admit it, we probably eat them twice a week, and it costs us 37,500 IDR each cinnamon roll. Sorry, not sorry. I can hear you all saying it right now. Ryan, why don't you cook at home? You will save yourself some money, and I see your point. However, we actually cooked at home the other day, and to buy all the ingredients from the local market was still 250,000 IDR, which we can easily get a good meal out for two for that. So there's not really any point cooking when it's just as cheap to eat out. So I bet you're wondering about partying in Bali. Well, actually, I've pretty much all but stopped drinking. Every now and then I might enjoy.
So you get it. He's talking about $10 for one lunch and $3 at night and another $3 for breakfast. Well, that's around $20 a day, so that's $500 a month, $600.
Enjoy beer with dinner, but I haven't got drunk in a very, very long time now. And this has saved me so much money, it's unbelievable. Drinking here in Bali is actually just as expensive as it is drinking in the UK. A large bottle of beer here from the shop is around 35,000, and from a restaurant is around 50,000. Cocktails will run you usually more than 100,000 per cocktail, and spirits and wine are really expensive as well. It can be really cheap if you drink arak, which is the local moonshine brewed here in Bali, which I recommend everyone should do that once. It's definitely an experience. But otherwise, if you're going out, say, once a week at the weekend, it's going to cost you an extra 500 to a million IDR a week just to party. I use Safety Wing as my travel insurance, and it doesn't require you to have a permanent residence anywhere. And when you sign up with other insurers, at the beginning of your trip, they require you to start from your home country, which isn't the case. You can buy and renew Safety Wing insurance from anywhere in the world. And you also don't need to declare which countries you're going to before your trip, which other insurers do require you to do. It's only $42 a month, and I know that a lot of my friends here in Bali and around the world, they all use Safety Wing as their travel insurance. Luckily, so far, I haven't had to make a claim, touch wood, but so far I haven't heard anything negative about this insurance. If you're looking for affordable, helping the drop-off and pick-up laundry, my clothes would get stained a lot more often from the dirty machines and iron, and they would also lose items of clothing quite often. Luckily, that's never happened to me, but it's happened to a lot of my friends. When I go to the coin laundry, I can see for myself that the machines are clean. I can use my own detergent, so I get to choose, and I load and unload all of my washing myself, so I don't lose any clothing. Not only that, but when you drop off your clothes to one of the usual laundry places, it usually takes 24 to 48 hours to get your laundry back to you. When I do it myself in the coin laundry, it only takes an hour and a half for a wash and a dry. I really recommend this way of laundry in Southeast Asia. The price isn't subjected to the weight of laundry that you provide. It's 20,000 IDR per machine, and I usually use 4 machines, 2 for colors and 2 for whites, so it's 80,000 a time, and quite often I split this with Sarah. But as a single person, that would only be 80,000 IDR a week for laundry. For SIM cards, I actually moved from the main carrier here in Bali, Telkomsel, to a different carrier called XL. The problem with using Telkomsel long term in Bali is that you need to register your IMEI number of your phone with the government, and you need to pay a one-off tax fee that's 50% of the phone's value over $500. So if you have a new iPhone, this is going to set you back around $250 just to register your IMEI number here in Indonesia. And if you don't do this, your phone is going to stop working after 3 months. Stupid, isn't it? When your phone stops working after 3 months, you won't be able to go to the little phone shops around anymore. They stopped being able to re-register your phone a few weeks ago, so you'll have to go to Denpasar every 3 months to the Telkomsel HQ to get your phone re-registered so that it works again. With XL, for some reason, this doesn't seem to happen. It hasn't happened to me, it hasn't happened to my friends, so it's a good option to go for. And honestly, the signal isn't that much different to Telkomsel itself, and it's a tad cheaper as well. And when you want to top up, you'll be able to go to per month for long call 30,000 for a stand. I really recommend this place, it's really good. But
Barber shop,
means
okay.
I can put your
And
fixed
what's
essential
more?
items I've purchased this spending a month if you decide to live in Bali long term. So for a guest house, you're looking at 9 million IDR a month in the center of Canggu. For a scooter, you're looking at around 1 million IDR a month and 200,000 IDR a month for the fuel. For meals out, which I'll use my eating routine, I eat 7 breakfasts, around 2 local meals for dinner, 1 fancy meal for dinner, and 4 mid-range meals for dinner a week. That's 1,327,000 IDR a month on food. It's not that bad in the grand scheme of things, but remember, if you'd like to eat 3 meals a day, this is going to be a third more expensive than what I pay. And also, if you get extra things, like I don't drink coffee, so I don't buy coffee at all, but if you like to get a coffee a day, that's also going to add up and make it more expensive. Travel insurance is $42 a month, which is around 660,000 IDR. Laundry is 200,000, my haircut is 100,000, and I pay 60,000 a month for my SIM card plan. This brings a realistic essential monthly outgoing in Bali to, drumroll please, 12,545,000 IDR, or just over $800, not including any non-essential purchases or any personal monthly outgoings.
That's what I was saying. 800 euro or dollar is not enough, because we just speak about the elementary things. So yeah, that doesn't include some other this. You need 1,000. You need 1,000, 1,200.
That you might have already. And bear in mind that if you want to eat 3 meals a day, or maybe you want to live in a villa instead of a guest house, or you like to party and go out and visit beach clubs, it's going to cost you a lot more than this. In my last video, I included non-essential purchases that I'd bought that month. So if we remove them from the total last year, at the end of 2021 in December, I was paying around 7,585,000 IDR a month, or around $485. So that's an increase of over $300 per month since the end of last year. I mean, my feeding habits have changed a bit as well. I don't eat as local as much, but still. So the real question is, has Bali become too expensive? In my honest opinion, yes, I would say yes. In the digital nomad areas like Canggu, Ubud, Uluwatu, yes, it's definitely gotten too expensive. Like I said earlier, I was paying a similar monthly expense for my 2-bedroom flat in the center of my town back in the UK. And I came here to Bali at the end of last year because it was cheaper to live here for a month than it was back in the UK, and that's not the case anymore. I mean, you do have to bear in mind that this is definitely a higher quality of living. You do get to eat out every day, and if you decide to get a villa, you get to live in a villa, which is obviously going to cost a lot more back in the West. But in general, on an average basis, it's definitely the same as living back at home. And if you're looking for that Bali high life that you see on social media, and you want a villa, you want to go out partying all the time, you want to visit the best beach clubs, you want to eat lovely food, 3 meals a day,
You need
it's going to cost you around
$3,000.
$1,500 to $2,000 per month at the very least. And don't get me wrong, you can live in Bali for very cheaply if you so wish to. You'd be getting a local house instead of a guest house or a villa and paying for it for a year up front. You would be eating local food, but you'd basically be swapping your Western lifestyle for a Southeast Asian lifestyle. And if you're okay with that, that's great. But for a lot of people, this isn't going to be the case. So what about you? Do you think Canggu has gotten too expensive for a Southeast Asian city? Let me know in the comments below. Let's start a healthy debate.
Alright, you see, yeah. So to speak about retired people, yeah, if they had 1,200 euro, it's okay in Bali, but they will not be rich. It will be normal life, easy life with restaurant and everything. It costs less than in France, yes, but well, you need money. When you are outside your country, you need money, usually. It's always expensive. So that's it for this part and for this stream today. Thank you to follow my stream in 3 parts because of bug with OBS. But I guess it was the filter I put to avoid my background. This one, you see. I think it's this one will make it buggy. See you next live, maybe on Thursday or Friday, something like that. Until that, I have to work on my video, upload new video. But I'd say I'm a bit disappointed because the last one, I'm not a lot of viewer, and I have to think about what I'm doing. because it's go less and less and less, and that's not good. No, I tried to go to on our Discord, but he did not invite me in his private channel. So it's like that. He do what he wants. It's not my channel, it's him, and he don't ask me. See you guys, and thank you for being here. Bye, Mons and other.